Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So Tekken 8 came out recently, so the series is still relevant, so I thought I'd use the opportunity to talk about my favourite entry in the series, which is Tekken 3. Tekken 3 is universally acclaimed on Metacritic, and quite unsurprisingly it's the third entry in the Tekken series. It released in 1997 on arcades in Japan, and was the first game that utilised the Namco System 12 hardware, as opposed to the System 11 hardware used in Tekken 1 and Tekken 2. Tekken 3 improved upon the previous entry by having much better graphics and smoother moving gameplay, as well as adding a sidestep and limiting the height of the characters' jumps to make them feel more realistic. So since their series' first entry, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon and Lara Croft have been fighting it out to become the PS1's mascot, but Tekken decided to go for a new character in this game, one that was different than the main mascots that have been in the previous two entries. Whilst Crash, Spyro, Tomb Raider and Tekken all exist in some form to this day, Tekken is the only one that has had all of its games released by the same publisher, and has almost undoubtedly been the most consistent of these series in terms of quality. The reasons for this are probably far-reaching and the subject for another video. Right now I'm going to play through Tekken 3 and give my impressions on it. Let's have a look. So upon booting up the game, you're welcomed by an opening movie with Heihachi Mishima turning up at some random looking area with a flash of an ogre appearing. The series standard opening with a shot of each major character is shown, which feels a lot like the TV openings from around the time this game was released. If you wait long enough in the menu, you get another movie showing off the in-game character models. I think I prefer this intro as it shows the characters actually fighting. The story is told through the point of view of each of the characters entering the King of Iron Fist tournament for their own reasons. The text in the game's manual and the in-game cutscenes paint a pretty abstract picture of what's going on, and don't really serve to create a strong narratively driven story. I'm usually a sucker for coherent narrative design within games, but I think the manual combined with the in-game cutscenes really does a good job here. I remember back in the day watching all the cutscenes back using the game's theatre mode, trying to piece together what was going on and how the characters linked together, but once I resigned myself to the fact this was almost impossible, I really started to enjoy things a bit more. The game gives you several modes to play with, but the main bulk of the game consists of arcade mode. This mode is more or less the same for each character. You fight 8 other characters before you are confronted by Heihachi. After beating him, you are confronted by Ogre. Once you beat him, he picks up Heihachi, presumably absorbing him, and turns into true Ogre. Now, as I've highlighted, the game tells its story for the characters' main experiences. Let's have a look at the main roster. Forest Law uses martial arts, and is the son of martial law from the first two games. He's a young man, and far more acrobatic than his father and friend Paul Phoenix. Law is clearly a tribute to Bruce Lee, and even has a third costume which is Bruce Lee's Game of Death outfit. Law is a pretty fast attacker, and can do backflips. I like using quick punching flurries with him, because it seems to get the job done. According to the manual, Law likes shopping and credit cards. Maybe we'll see him at the mall! Ling Xiaoyu is a Chinese schoolgirl who likes amusement parks. She wants to enter the Tekken tournament to build an amusement park in China. Apparently she's both a student and full-time panda caretaker. Full-time panda caretaker. She's a great character because she can smash people back then pursue them. I like to call this attack the get away from me fuckboy attack. Jin Kazama is the face of this game. Since its inception, he's gone on to become the face of Tekken as well, and he's also a great character to play as. He is the son of Kazuya and Jun, who were in Tekken 2. Ogre killed his mother, so he's out for revenge. He also has the devil gene his father has, and you can see him transform into this in several of the game's cutscenes. As a person though, Jin seems really boring. According to the manual, he likes walks in the forest and mother's teachings. Bet he's great at parties. Playing as him, you have access to the cheesiest move ever, which is a spinning kick move that takes off a good chunk of your opponent's health if you hit them. Paul Phoenix is the first character I've mentioned so far who wasn't introduced in this game. He's been part of the Tekken series since the beginning. He has pointy Johnny Bravo style blonde hair and rides a motorbike. Paul uses a variety of fighting moves, but his style is based on judo. He has no job, but has ambitions to be the #1 fighter in the universe. I'd love to see Paul Phoenix fight Goku. That'd be awesome! In case it wasn't obvious, Paul is a stereotypical biker dude who loves driving fast and eating pizza. He's also good friends with Forest Law and the rest of his family. While Paul isn't my favourite character to play as, he undoubtedly has my favourite move, which is this. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about! Nina is another character that's been in the Tekken series since the beginning. She's a trained assassin, and her martial arts style is based on Aikido. After failing to assassinate Kazuya in the last game, Nina was frozen cryogenically, which explains why she looks no different after the 15-year time skip from the last game. Because of the cryogenic freezing, Nina has amnesia, so doesn't really remember her sister Anna too well. In battle, Nina has a slapping attack, which I like to call the done with your shit attack. King is a huge Mexican wrestler who was raised by the King from the first 2 games' orphanage. In order to avenge the death of the first King at the hands of Ogre, this King is trained by Armor King to win the King of Iron Fist tournament. King, 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 king. Although this dude looks stupidly threatening, his hobby is to look after orphan children. Nah, isn't that nice? He's a gentleman. Unsurprisingly, he uses a lot of wrestling moves and palm punches like Commander Riker.
I just want you to know that I have the utmost respect for the law.
Lei Wulong is this game's tribute to Jackie Chan. He's a detective responsible for tackling a variety of international crimes. The manual says he dislikes crime and criminals, so I guess he's in the right job. In combat, Lei uses 5-form style Chinese martial arts, and I think his kicks are awesome. He also has this wicked headbutt, which is one of the best moves to spam in the game. Yoshimitsu is weird. He carries a lightsaber-esque looking sword, but isn't a Jedi. Apparently he's the leader of a bunch of space thieves, and entered the tournament to secure some ogre's blood for his friend Dr Bokonvich. In combat, Yoshimitsu is pretty specialist. He's clearly played a lot of Crash Bandicoot, as evidenced by his spin attack here. He also has this weird stand-on-a-stick defense thing. There's also this cool meditate slap move, which can make Yoshimitsu teleport if done right. Only the coolest kids could pull off this move in 1998. I wasn't one of them. Next is Eddy Gordo. If you look up the word cheater in the dictionary, you get a picture of Eddy Gordo. Eddy was basically the character you banned your friend or sibling from using because he's just so good. He utilises capoeira, which is the Brazilian art form combining martial arts, sports and music into one. Eddy also utilises a whole bunch of attacks at different heights, and when playing against him, everything just seems unblockable. Eddy entered the King of Iron Fist tournament to seek revenge after his father was killed. He's a pretty no-nonsense dude, as he likes power and dislikes weakness. Hwoarang is the best character in Tekken 3. Here's why.
Final round. Fight!
He utilises Taekwondo, and his kick combos are just to die for. Hwoarang entered the tournament after Ogre attacked his mentor. He also wants to beat Ogre and defeat Jin, who is his rival. Apparently, he has an occupation as a street thug leader. I'm not sure that's technically an occupation, mate. He also likes rock music and arguing. No, I don't. Hwoarang is the character I main for this game. Because of his kicking combos, he's great against characters of all heights, and all you have to do when someone gets wise to the kick spam is just swap to punching. These are the main characters, but what modes can you use them in apart from arcade mode? Versus mode is self-explanatory, and it allows you to challenge your friends in local multiplayer. Team battle mode lets you pit a team of consecutive players against another team of consecutive players. Time attack mode is just arcade mode. You can't control the difficulty, amount of rounds, time limit, or pause the game. It's basically this game's version of hard mode. Practice mode, unsurprisingly, lets you practice combos outside the main game, with a display showing which buttons you've pressed at the bottom of the screen. Survival mode gives you 1 health bar to fight as many death matches as you can until you run out of health. There are also 14 additional characters you can unlock through various methods in the game. Panda is basically a reskin of Kuma, and Tiger is basically a reskin of Eddy, but all the other characters have got their own thing going on. Gunjack is basically a big robot, Hulk smash type character. He's kind of like a living rock'em sock'em robot. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle, here's my spout. Usain Bolts. Anna is Nina's sister. She plays quite similar, but it feels like she hits a bit harder. Also, the dresses she wears don't seem that practical in a fighting game. Fun fact as well, the ending movie for Anna was changed in the European and American versions of the game. In the censored version, a bunch of dude bros approach Nina and then walk off with Anna looking all pleased with herself. Whereas in the original version, one of the dude bros tries it on with Nina, so she goes up to Anna, undoes her bra, and looks all pleased with herself. Oh, sibling rivalry. Heihachi is a badass, and has loads of awesome punching combos. He also has this electric grab strangle attack that feels so good to pull off. Take that, Eddy. He's got evil villain written all over him. Look at that hair. I bet he uses 8 zillion litres of hairspray to pull that do off. In the cutscenes, he also both shoots and throws his grandson out of a plane. Nice guy. Ryan is dead. No, seriously. He's a zombie cyborg detective. Did you not know? He has this stupidly good combo here, and can rip a tank apart with his bare hands. Don't mess with Brian. Julia has cool 3-button combos. And her ending video is the only one with voice acting.
Michelle?
She basically finds her mother, who tells her that peace is the answer, even though she's just smashed through an ogre and 9 other people. The scene then ends with,
Now let's go home, back to Arizona, where the land awaits us.
I don't know about you, but this seems like one of those come on vacation here type things. Kuma is a bear, Panda is a panda. Those are the bare facts. Mokujin is a living wooden training doll. At the beginning of each fight, it takes on all the other characters' fighting moves at random. This makes it really tricky to understand what's going on unless you know all the characters very well. Its ending video is also weird as it starts playing as itself on a Tekken 3 arcade game. Imagine if you were playing the scene in Tekken 3, where Mokujin was playing the scene in Tekken 3, where Mokujin was playing the scene in Tekken 3, where Mokujin was... The first thing you'll think when seeing Ogre is, wow, Shrek has been smashing the gym. Ogre's a good character and has some cool moves. They are very tricky to pull off. When you get them to work, they sap most of the enemy's life bar. Playing as true Ogre is funny because you can breathe fire on all the enemies which they can't stop. Sometimes it doesn't hit, which is a little annoying, but if you've got the timer set to infinite, you can keep spamming this to win. All of the character stages are shrouded in darkness when you play as true Ogre as well. So all of these characters can be unlocked by beating arcade mode a bunch of times. But there's 2 characters left to unlock. The legit way to unlock Dr Bokonvich is to beat Tekken Force Mode 4 times. It's basically Streets of Rage Tekken Edition. You have a set timer, and a bunch of enemies with low health attack you, and award you with time when you beat them. Once you get to the end of each area, a player character attacks, and when you beat them, you can move on to the next stage. The big problem with this mode is that you get no way to continue. If your health hits 0, you have to go all the way back to the beginning of stage 1.
Game over.
Another big problem is the enemies can attack you from off screen. You'd think you could wait for them to come on screen, but of course that eats at your timer. Once you've beaten this for the 4th time, you can fight and beat Dr Bokonvich. And guess what? He's crap. For some reason when you play as him, he just falls over seemingly at random. This wouldn't be so bad if it was how he was all the time, but half the time I can do combos and half the time I can't. What's that about? Dr Bokonvich was like the holy grail of unlockables back in the day. I only knew one friend that had him. Is this really it? Gone is a different story. Once you've unlocked True Ogre, then Tekken Ball mode becomes available. This mode is basically volleyball, but you use your character's moves to send the ball over the net. When you reach Gon and beat him, you can use him. Gon's actually a brilliant character to play as, because he's small enough to not be easily hit by many characters, and can do this cool spinning attack. Once you beat his story in arcade mode, you see this cool animation where Gon rides on some animals, and then shoots through a forest at high speed. Gone with the wind. There's not much else to say about this game other than it's absolutely brilliant. The graphics, gameplay and characters are all top tier, and it still plays well 26 years after it was released. I have complained about the overly unfair challenge of Tekken Force Mode and how Dr Bokonvich is locked behind this, but it's really not a problem because he unlocks after you've played Versus Mode 700 times anyway. This means you can unlock everything in this game if you're a pretty average player, which is cool. The experience can be customized. You can either pick a character who has lots of moves you can spam beating the game easily, or take your time and learn every character's unique combo. All in all, a near perfect experience which still stands up to this day. Thanks for watching, and let me know what your favourite character is in the comments below. See you later.